mode.
Oh man, the things I just had to go through to get this set up. But now we're potting. Now we're major league potting. You hear me? Welcome back to Mitch Wayne's World. And it's late at night. I hadn't had technical difficulties in a long time. And let me tell you something. I just had technical difficulties, but it's all for the love of the game. Got this new setup, and we're about to really start major league potting. That's about it. But it's late. I don't want to be up for too long, and I have a lot of things. There's a lot of things that are going on right now in the world, apparently. So I guess I'm gonna pontificate about them, and you know what it is, baby. It's Mitch Wayne's World. This is the funk, bitch, and let's get it popping. I gotta stop cussing within the first few minutes of my videos because I'm getting screwed. I'm screwing myself, but you know what it is, baby. We're chilling. Come sit down. Come take a seat. Let's talk. Me and you. Just boys. Boys and girls. Ladies and gentlemen. Just a gentleman. And a couple folks. That's all it really is. What should I talk about first, man? Team USA in soccer. We lost to Panama en la Copa América. Y es un más triste porque Team USA siempre hacen lo mismo. They just choke. And it's okay. Those are our boys. But, Team USA soccer has always been kind of a similar story. I said to someone earlier, I was like, Team USA soccer is what life in the USA would look like if we weren't a superpower. So just take a little peek at that and remind yourself that it might all be worth it at the end of the day. This is on my bad side. I need to look over here because my bad side is showing on this. Yeah. And you know what? I am a grown man, and I do talk about having a bad side because, what? Okay, be mad about it. Be mad about it. Not really too worried. But, yeah. One of my friends texted me this long-ass explanation of how the USA might still be able to advance into the elimination stage when it comes to la Copa, pero ya no tengo ganas por eso. Dude, what else? I don't know. Do we want to get all lyrical, spiritual? All right, we'll talk about two things real quick, and then we'll see how long I go with that. But first thing, Dr. Disrespect. Now, let's just start off by saying, to be safe, this is all alleged. Everything that I may or may not say is alleged, and let's go. So back in 2020, if you don't know who Dr. Disrespect, he's a 6'8" streamer. That I don't know why I started with 6'8", but I've met him before, and he was in Dallas it was when he won a streamer award. I think this was right before COVID, right before 2020. And the only reason I say that he's 6'8" is because I'm a pretty tall guy, and so if I'm whoa, you're tall, then you're fucking tall, dude. And he's a streamer, so it's just funny. I think he played D1 or D2 basketball somewhere or something. So good for him. However, nice guy, all that stuff, blah blah blah. Won streamer of the year, all those things. And then in 2020, he got banned from Twitch. He's one of the biggest streamers. Got randomly banned from Twitch. It was this whole big thing. No one knew what happened. He disappeared for a little bit. And I gotta be honest, I was a fan. And I gotta stop being fans of people because they always let you down. And there was all sorts of speculation as to why he left Twitch, got kicked off of Twitch, what was going on, but he got banned, all that stuff. And then he started streaming on other platforms like YouTube, etc., and his career took a slight dip, but then he came roaring back. I remember watching this fool one time. Um, I don't even. It was after the Twitch ban. He was streaming on YouTube, and I watched him. He was getting paid to play a game that was being promoted at the time, and then he was streaming and he has like endorsements and stuff, and then off of purely donations alone, this fool made like a few $1,000s within like an hour of me watching him, which was like absolutely insane. But all that to say, this isn't funny. I'm sorry. I laugh at bad things, so just if you're offended by my laughter, I don't think it's funny. I just think that the world is chaotic and chaos is interesting to me. But Dr. Disrespect now has come out. We're halfway through 2024. It has come out that the good old doc himself was inappropriately messaging a minor, allegedly inappropriately messaging a minor through Twitch chat. And I haven't dove extremely deep into this because I have a job. That's kind of what it boils down to at the end of the day. But I pulled up some articles, and yeah, so it's not looking super good. A former Twitch employee came out and said that he was sexting a minor and planning to meet up with her at TwitchCon, allegedly. So that's no good. Apparently he like knew that she was a minor too. Also, this is something. Before he won Streamer of the Year, he did get in trouble for, I believe, again, we'll just say allegedly, because these people are crazy, cheating on his wife. So, you know, he's a tall, handsome guy, and he's got a lot of money, and he's kind of a nerd too. So, and he's older, and so, you know, maybe who knows? I don't know. I don't want to put anything, but you can't be sexting minors. You definitely can't be doing that. You shouldn't cheat on your wife. Let's start there. That's never good. You definitely shouldn't do that. But what you really, really shouldn't do in this world is sext minors. That's something, even when you're a minor, you probably shouldn't sext minors. You know, we've all, maybe not all of us have done it, but, you know, when you're a minor, you do minor things. But when you're in the majors, like Dr. Disrespect, you don't mess with the minors when you're in the majors. You feel me? So that was a pretty crazy one. That was like, honestly, I did not expect that one. I was under the assumption, honestly, that he probably slept with someone at Twitch, or there was some sort of money dispute or something along those lines. But nope, allegedly sexting a minor. That's tough, dude. What is it about these people who... What is it about what is it? What is it about a lot of people who become famous and push for things like that? I mean, granted, he was like very persona oriented and things like that, so, you know, he's kind of a crazy guy, a bit of a personality, so it's not that crazy. But what is it about these kind of people that they just end up either doing so many drugs that their head falls off their body, or they're touching kids? Like, it feels like, especially like the past like two generations of artists, like 70s, 80s, 90s, early I mean, I guess all, like, I don't even, yeah, not even, just a lot of artists have either had drug addictions or they're out here sexting minors. A lot of them are doing worse, but you know, what is that? What's going on? Why do y'all do that? Don't drop a comment actually about that, please. Thank you very much. So yeah, someone else is gonna come on the pod here soon, and we're gonna open this bitch up a little. I had to get this little setup going. You can't see it, but it's sitting right below this camera. It's a fun little interface that I got to plug my microphones into. So yeah, Dr. Disrespect, rest in... I don't even know. I don't... Wait a minute. It's Mitch Wayne's World and I'm sleepy. Yeah, rest in something. I don't know. I don't like to shit on people like that. At least not without knowing them. But that's tough. Other thing that's kind of tough that I was just like, you know, while we're in the doldrums of chaotic nonsense and probably some minor sexting here and there on both sides, today it was super low key. It wasn't very well advertised. I feel like not a lot of people knew, but oh yeah, what I was saying is I was gonna have other people in here, but we're having a good silly time. Trust me, more giggles, more silly goofies. There's some contemplation on the way, but we're gonna listen. It is what it is, and it will be what it's gonna be, but it can't be what it shouldn't be. You know what I'm saying? What it shouldn't be, sometimes it starts to go that way, and then you gotta like reel it back in. But good old Donald J. Trump and Joseph something Biden had a debate this evening, and again, it wasn't, gosh, I'm not going to get all conspiratorial because in my brain and in my mind and in my private life, I sometimes look at things and I'm just like, yeah, man, life in the empire, huh? But there's no point in getting all caught up in all that mess. So I watched part of it, and boy, oh boy, is that not something? Do we not live in a society or something like that? Like, we got these two old fools, and again, a lot of people my age didn't even know that it was going on. It's a presidential debate, and just I couldn't even watch all of it just because, you know, I used to get so caught up in politics and loved arguing and, like, you know, you got to find the right answer and all these things, and like it's just such a waste of life and energy. Like, local politics are pretty important. They're going to affect your life. I never want to say just completely disengage, but I used to, I don't know, I've been all over the spectrum with my beliefs and things, but I definitely, you have to almost find it comical at this point, because if you don't and you try to make it, if you try to find some sort of like serious point to derive from all of this, you're probably gonna have a really bad time. So it's best to just look at this and just be like, well, you know, America is a dope place. I will say that. It has a lot of problems, but it is one of the most, it's a very chaotic place, and if that's what you like, and I like that, is you can be the highest of highs and the lowest of lows here, and that's pretty cool. But then you also pay taxes to a government that very obviously does not give a flying fadoodle about its citizens. I'll just leave it at that, I guess. I don't know. I had to turn the debate off halfway through, though, because it was just like, I mean, it's like listening to my grandfather and one of his friends argue, and I know I'm not the first person to say that, but it's just too, the boomer generation is just, oh my God, they're such insufferable people, and they just want to hear themselves talk, and they just want to prove their points, and it's like the fucking house is burning and they're debating about whether or not, or like whose fault it is, and whether or not, like, you know, Donald Trump's like, oh, well, I installed water pumps in the, you know, back house so that we could take care of situations like this, but it's, you know, been burnt, so da-da-da-da. I don't know. I'm being ridiculous with my metaphor, but it's just like, guys, what is going on here? And like, we deserve this. We brought, like, what? We are such a stupid group of people sometimes. It's incredible. Like I said, the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows. And that brings our median somewhere. But it is just like such a crazy place, man. in like a broader historical sense, when you look at like what America is and what it's done and who Americans are as like a broad scope of people, it's like, what? What is that? What is that place? But ye motherfucking haw. I'm glad I'm from Texas in this bitch, I will say. Definitely being a Texan in this day and age is like being the true. There's a certain mentality here that I thought was just very natural to human beings, but when you travel around, even the U.S., and then you go outside of the U.S. and things like that, you start to realize how kind of like foreign your ideology is. It's kind of cool though. I love it. I definitely doubled way down on a lot of my, honestly, there's a lot of things I used to reject about the way that Texas is, and I like the balance of it too. I like the fact that it's, like a purple state. The cities are pretty blue, the surrounding areas are red. There's a good balance. There's different cultures, all sorts of different things, but I hated on some things, and then I traveled and lived other places and things like that, and then I was like, I kind of really started to appreciate some of the things. So yeah, yeehaw, dog, come on. And that's about that. I don't know. I don't like to get super political, because when I do, I just start getting depressed and weird. And that's not what we're doing. That's just not what we're doing, especially not over some politics. Good gracious, dude. Give me a break, huh? That does... there was something about that. Oh, yeah, I don't know. Just what you pay attention to and things like that. I don't know. I have this whole Times New Roman tech idea that I've circulate through my mind, and I just don't give it enough time, because I don't give anything enough time, honestly. But I like the whole, this is something that I think I've talked about it before, but I'm going to continue to talk about it. It's going to be a reoccurring subject here. But the idea that the brain is a black box, and, like the idea of a black box is like you put in something happens inside the box, something different comes out. Like a lot of social media algorithms are considered black boxes, like TikTok's algorithm. And the brain is the original black box, because we don't really understand cognition and all those things at a very high level. We're starting to understand them more. We're starting to, neuroscience is still a relatively new field compared to a lot of things. So the real hard science of understanding the way that we process the world at large is relatively new. And this whole black box concept is just cool, because it's like, maybe we're not supposed to figure it out. Maybe we can't figure it out. And that's like the whole thing of it, is kind of the serendipity of consciousness, I guess. But I kind of went two different ways with this, but politics is one of those things that you can debate for almost forever, right? And when I talk about the brain being a black box and all those things, what you input into your brain is super, super important. And I feel like often people, when they say that or whatever, try to show off and be like, yeah, I only listen to smart things or this or that or whatever. Good morning. And I don't think that's necessarily the point. I mean, maybe, but also too, if you just always think everything has to be intellectual and brainy and whatever, then you're probably not that intelligent of a person either, because you're always trying to signal your intelligence. But that's just my opinion. But there's certain kinds of fields where I feel like a lot of smart people get sucked into, and there's this politics is so one of them, where it can be an endless battle of you're right, I'm wrong, you're wrong, you're right, I'm wrong, I'm right, you're wrong, etc., etc. And it's just this endless cycle of nonsense. That's why I really liked my philosophy classes in school, but at a certain point it just became okay, we're just going in this endless cycle of nothingness, and nothing's getting done. Um, and I feel like I've done that with a lot of things. I've done that with cumulative and Mitch Wayne's world and things like that. In my creative things, is like I have to put it out in this way. I have to make it this whole process or whatever. And the more that I've started to understand how things really work, I'm like, bro, let's just pop up on the couch and start potting. And I've never gotten more love and feedback from the people that I like, at least, the people that reach out to me that give me feedback. I greatly value that, because y'all are like my target. And again, I'm all over the place, but it kind of all tracks where like overthinking things, and I know I've talked about this before, but overthinking things and trying to always figure everything out. That's something that I was thinking about earlier. Is like I have this huge problem where I have to like, and it's really hurt a lot of my relationships and things like that, where I feel like I have to like figure things out and get to the bottom of them and whatever, when a lot of times, like a lot of times, unless you're talking about like hard math or science, there is no getting to the bottom of something. There is no obvious reason for something. There's not a lot of like hard right and hard wrong in the world. And especially when you're dealing with people and things like that. I have had such a problem in my life ascribing intention behind people's actions without fully understanding where they're coming from. And when you do that, what ends up happening is you tell yourself this grand story, and you and this person may be an inch off of each other's path, but then when you tell yourself this story and you are trying to figure everything out before you even give them a chance to show you that you're tripping, you create way more degrees of separation. You go, feet apart. And then when you finally try to come back together, it's a lot harder, because you've created all of these narratives and all of these things. And it comes back to the brain being a black box, because it's like, sometimes your inputs make you react in a way that you don't necessarily understand. Or like, people say that like karma is indirect. Well, like, so is like cognition almost, where like the more you try, like, you ever try to like not focus on something and that's the only thing you can focus on, because you can't, that's not how like your brain works. It's a black box. You can't just like actively divert your attention. I mean, you can, and it's a practice, but like it's a lot easier to distract yourself than like actively pay attention to something. And I don't know, it's something that I feel like self-aware people deal with a lot, and things like that. Like you waste so much mental energy on trying to figure out, am I doing the right thing? Is this person doing the right thing? Is it the right time for this? Is it all this? And it's like, those are like unsolvable problems. And maybe I'm just giving myself a therapy session, and no one else deals with this issue. But if you are, okay. There's no solution, though. That's kind of the cool thing. I've gotten really, really good at just dumbing shit down, and I'm going to continue to, because life is so much more fun like that. I got to be honest. Life is so much more fun when you just go, I don't know. It really, really is. Instead of just being always, I mean, with some things, again, like, I do data analytics for my day job, so I don't really need to go and like figure shit out on my off time. I like to just have a good time. I mean, for this, I like to research topics and stuff like that. And like I said, I want to get deeper into that kind of stuff. But it's just, I guess that was kind of the main thing, is like, yeah, always trying to figure things out. And another thing that I noticed about myself is like, I have all these notes that I write down that I'm going to revisit, or I have, like, just these things that I'm like, oh, this is an important concept. I need to remember this concept, and I'll like write it down. I can't tell you how many times I've gone back and revisited those notes. Almost never. Like almost never. And I've been doing it obsessively since I was like 17 or 18. And that's like when I started smoking weed. So maybe I should think about that because that's like not good. That's like, whatever. But it's interesting, like when the things that are actually important do end up sticking because that's just how life works out, especially when like I like to think I'm a relatively self-aware person. I know that I'm a self-aware person. I think the problem that I have, and that probably a lot of people have, is that I'm like too self-aware sometimes. So then I overthink again, and it just creates this block. And the whole like I've really tried to stop writing stuff down and instead just being like, how important is this thought? Do I really need to think through it right now? Do I really need to write this down? Is it going to go in a video? Is it going to be related to someone, like doing something for someone? No? Okay, cool. Then leave it be. And that's part of the reason why I want to like record and do videos and all that, because then I can just go back and listen to it. I don't need to go and read. But yeah, the writing things down and all that, it almost feels like my memory has gotten worse since I've done that. And like, it's like when you're trying to do like a math problem and you're just like watching someone do it as opposed to like really thinking through the steps and connecting those dots. Like, I don't know, I swear you feel that. Like you feel those neurons forming in your brain. So the brain is a black box. I feel like all this like second brain stuff and all that is a little toxic. Not to say that note taking and things like that aren't useful, but sometimes maybe just the way that I go about it is too scattered or whatever. But sometimes I feel like the things that are super, super important, if you're paying attention and if you're being present, then those things kind of just will stick without a lot of effort. That's, the whole brain as a black box thing. Like the presence is like such an important part of that, and kind of really allowing our brains to work the magic that they can. Because dude, like human consciousness is a crazy concept, and like the fact that we can all just perceive words, and like I could talk into a microphone and you can watch it on your phone or wherever, and you can understand the words, and then you can have a thought about those words, and then you could even say words back to me via another way of communicating, and I can perceive those words. I don't know. That's a simple ass little concept, but it's crazy. Super crazy. And yeah, like I said, being present is a part of that. I feel like oftentimes I like lack presence because I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta write that down and think about it later. It's like, no, motherfucker, just be here now and do it, and like whatever. And this is something that I've been learning over a long period of time, but like sometimes you gotta really have that shoved down your mouth before you really understand it. And have also two examples of people who are, older than you or more experienced than you that have done it and haven't done it, and how their lives turn out. And I don't know. No one wants to be the old scatterbrain dude that's like always, I don't know. I have some of those in my family that are like, mad scientist types, and some of them are really rich and have done well, and some of them are not, and none of them are chill. And all the ones in my family that are chill are just chill and rich and enjoy life and play sports. And I feel like I have a path to take, or I have a fork in my road, and damn motherfucker if I'm not gonna take the easy path, because why not? Like, why make life harder? There's no point to. That was like probably the biggest mistake I made from the age of like 17 when I was on my own to last year, 2 years ago. I was just always taking the hard path, trying to prove a point. Don't do it. If you're young, I mean, I'm still young, but like if you're younger than me and you're like trying to prove a point to society and whatever, bro, like you'll prove your point. I promise you will. It's going to take a long time too. Obviously, you have like a long time ahead of you. Like a long time. But your point will be proven more so if you learn how to move within the confines of certain games, and then you just play your own game within that. And I don't know if that made a lot of sense, but hopefully that made sense to someone who needed to hear that, because I needed to hear that, and no one guided me. And it's like, brother, life is hard. Don't. This is my anti-David Goggins red pill whatever, and I love David Goggins. I think there's something to, like, when I say take the easy path, I mean take the path of finesse, take the path of most leverage, which again, that does mean, like the David Goggins shit, doing hard things, making yourself tough, all those kind of things. But like, you're either going to make yourself tough on your own accord, or life is going to force you to do it. And the longer you wait for life to do it to you, the harder it's going to be for you to come back. And you probably won't come back. There's certain people I see getting punched in the mouth for the first time by life at this age, and I feel bad for them, because I'm like, damn, your recovery is going to be really tough. Me, I've been punched, pissed on. I've also been kissed by life and sweetly caressed, but yeah, I got on a fucking, I don't even know where I went with all that, but take the easy path. Don't overthink things. Your brain is a black box, and you can do whatever you want with it. But I think too, I was in an era when I was like 17, 18, and like Gary Vee and like hustle culture was like such a huge thing. But and I still, like, a lot of those things I agree with the intensity behind it and the way that it kind of robs you of, like, the beauty of life is not good, especially for young men in this day and age. It's like the counterbalance to people being like, oh, men are just gaming and jerking off and not, like, productive members of society, which there's truth to in this day and age. So the counter of that is like, you got to get up and you got to grind your ass off and you got to shove your dick into the dirt for 17 hours a day, and then you got to go to bed and you got to fucking sleep naked in the fucking forest. And it's like, bro, here's an idea. We live in an incredibly trippy society where an education and people skills can afford you to live how kings lived, better than kings lived for most of human history. Now, is the concept of tax slavery a thing? Is the world fucked up in all these different ways? Is there all sorts of ways like that the system cheats people and fucks people over and all that stuff? Yeah, 110%. However, the smarter way to go about fixing those things and making yourself resilient to those things is not by going and screaming in front of those things and being like, I hate you, you suck. It's by making yourself better than those things in the ways that you can on your own. And again, completely rejecting society and things like that, or not even completely rejecting it, just having this chip on your shoulder is just... it's an unwise way to live, and I understand it, and I still feel that way at times. But I don't like the concept that men are supposed to be joyless people. I think that's something that's pushed onto us that we kind of force onto ourselves, and I think it's dumb. I think it's really, really dumb, and I think that's like a huge problem in our society. I think we need to be strong, and perhaps not so, not emotionally flighty and things like that. And there is something to being, a little bit more stoic and things like that. But having a peaceful mind and finding a lot of joy in different parts of life, and deriving joy from just simple things and fun stuff, kind of like what I was saying. It's like, there's the men in my family, there's two kinds, and one is the overthinking mad scientist type, and the other is the chill little fucking sporty finesse kid. I see financial success aside, I see the way that they live their lives and how they're always just the way that they make me feel being around them and things like that, and I'm I'm telling you, it's good to just be chill and to just roll with the punches. All right. I'm working on it myself. I've gotten pretty good at it though, but I don't know why we decided as a culture for a little bit, and then maybe it's just a man thing. And this again isn't to say like, just roll over and just be docile. It's like, nah, be a man. Like, go get your bread, build your wisdom, do things, experience things, grow your brain, grow your, knowledge bank of whatever. Learn how to treat women, all those different things. But don't do it because you're like angry. Do it because you're lucky. Like we get to. That's what we're supposed to do. And there is a lot of pride and joy in being, I don't know, men are in fact the active principle and women are the passive principle. And if that upsets you, then you don't know what I'm actually trying to say, because it's actually a really, really beautiful thing. It makes me happy. Like, that's like real equality, because it's like we both have different qualities that make us great and that are our downfalls as genders. Generally speaking, yes, of course, there's people that always break the mold. I know, I hear you, it's okay, don't get mad. But, yeah, go out and get you some, my brother. How long have we been going here? 38 minutes. Okay, 38 minutes. There's a couple other things that I wanted to talk about. One of them being Apple and OpenAI integrating together, but I feel like I should do a little bit more in depth on that. Also, now that I'm like a big tennis guy, Wimbledon is coming up, and that's like pretty exciting. Because one thing about me is I didn't grow up. I've watched tennis a little bit. I knew a little bit about it growing up, but I never played. And then I've gotten super into it. And now I've started watching. And your boy will download information like this when it comes to my obsessions. And this is a new obsession of mine. So I'm going to watch Wimbledon, and I'm going to really enjoy it because I'm going to learn all about all these different people. I've been trying to figure out who my favorite players are right now, all that kind of stuff. But if you have a favorite, if any of y'all watch tennis and have a favorite player, so but not the big ones. I like to find someone who's like, gonna, like, an underdog, someone who's got some weird story. Maybe it's their, I like those, like, people who it's their first time at a major tournament and they're older, and it's all these different things. So, I'll try to do another pod before then, but July 4th is also coming up. But I don't know if I'll be able to release another one before then, honestly. It's, whatever. July 4th is my favorite holiday, though. I'm American, baby. Besides maybe Christmas, because I'm also Christian, and I love Christ. I love America, and I love Christ. If you got a problem with that, go on somewhere. Yeah, so Wimbledon's coming up. That's pretty fun. Trump and Biden debated. That's not super fun. I wanted to talk about Snapchat and what's going on those random Snapchat stories where they're whatever, but that's another time. That is a brain rot specific episode. So Apple, OpenAI, integration, Snapchat, chaos, all that. Save it for another day. All right. This has been Mitch Wayne's World. Go ahead and I don't know, do something.
Mitch Wayne's World.